And to summarize, because it's not wrapped up yet. When we can start to observe the thoughts of our minds, we can start to truly analyze what our minds are trying to convince us to do. And as long as we know, and as long as we can follow our hearts, we can learn to observe the mind and keep the mind out of it. We can work with the mind because the mind has programmed this society. It's not programmed this society. The mind has been programmed to obey by the society. So we can use the mind to understand how to work within this society, but we can also not allow our minds to become slaves to this society. And as long as we go to as long as we can go into the present moment and just be grateful for who we are and where we are, everything will flow into its place. Because it always would have. This is the truth. It was always going to flow. It was always going to be okay. The only difference is that our minds convince us that we need to do something, or we need to do this, we need to do that. If we didn't think with our minds, our hearts would take control of everything. Our hearts have the truth to love infinitely, and not just love infinitely. Our hearts have the truth to manifest into infinite truth and infinite possibilities. So why do we allow our minds to try and dictate who? It's literally a dictatorship. We think we're under a dictatorship every single day because our minds tell us what we need to do, why are we submissing to this slavery? When the truth is that our minds know very well what its intention is. It's to bring us to a point of suffering. No matter how strong we are, if we listen to the mind, we will observe that it truly doesn't give a fuck about us, because it's trying to get us further and further and further and further away from our true belonging, which is the heart's truth. And the further it lures away from our truth, eventually it can no one's home here now. It's the heart's mine. The evil, there's no truth to protect it. Because we don't believe in truth anymore. The most darkest people don't believe in truth. They don't believe in love. They say no one loves me. They say everything's evil. They don't believe in their own originality. When someone doesn't believe in their originality, who's taking control of it? Who has access? Who's using their originality against them? These are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves, because the deepest people who are in the most suffering states, they have no connection to who they truly are, because they've been lured away it could be from such a young age, taking someone's innocence away from them, taking their true, innocence away from them, and replacing that with evil and, hatred. And when we start to grow within those vibrations, we lose true connection to our true self. And these are all the things that the mind does through convincing us what's good. And if we don't have the power to weigh that what we think is good, the perception of what's good, with truth, because we're not taught about truth, for God's sake. We're taught truth is knowledge, but knowledge isn't truth. Knowledge is existence. That might be true, it might not be true, because there's a whole lot of knowledge out there which isn't true. So knowledge isn't true. Not all of it, at least. There is some knowledge which is true, and there's some knowledge which isn't true. But the true ability to connect with infinite truth is the heart. The heart has access to truth when you can believe it. And a sense of believing from the heart, a sense of understanding that we can always just take a second and listen to the mind, and then listen to the heart, and then start to learn to listen to the mind, and then learn to listen to the heart, we can start to understand that the heart has the sense of greater knowledge or greater wisdom than the mind does. The mind will convince us that it knows everything, or that it knows how to get things done, but it's much more, the heart has the true truth.